Folks, what happens if people like the set? Huh? So, what happens if people actually... What if people like Spider-Man? I know there's no serialized cards and it's all crap and everybody says, make sure we all boycott and nobody buy anything. Scalper scanner 5,000, beep boop pop pop pop. But have we considered a weird scenario? So being filmed Friday, pre-release day of Spider-Man, and I had a really strange batch of comments from patrons and people who went to their stores around the country today. And all the messages were talking about how much people enjoyed playing Spider-Man with magic. And it made me step back and say, well, that's kind of a strange development. I mean, I kind of forgot that cards are actually designed to be played. I thought this was just Wall Street and I'm just a Timmy. So I didn't really factor in the variable of the amount of people who are obsessed with Marvel and Spider-Man and the amount of people who sent me messages saying, Rudy, I have to let you know. I know the collector boxes tanked from 1,000 to that 700 range. God knows what it is today. It might be 600 or 800. But whatever it is today. And I just want to let you know, Rudy, I did some pre-release with friends. We even cracked a play box and collector box. And we really liked playing these cards. The synergy and the flavor of the Spider-Man magic cards were actually really enjoyable. I said, okay, well, that's a strange development, as I tell you all. Until we come to release day, until we see the actual public's acceptance or rejectance of a magic set, weird things can come along. So far, a couple content creators did some collector box openings of Spider-Man. The market panicked. There's no serialized cards. And people said there's only $200 in value in a $1,000 collector box. The collector box tanked to a low of 600. And now as of the filming, it's back to 700. God knows what it'll be by the time this goes live. And I kind of sat back. I said, okay, well, so what happens in the next 30 days if all these play boxes and collector boxes are wiped off the market and nobody wants to pay the $200 play box price? Nobody wants to pay the $700-800 Spider-Man collector box price, but everybody wants these single cards because they're actually fun. So that's a very unique situation that doesn't come along as much anymore. But that really kind of creates a very unusual situation. So historically, when we have a product that's overpriced or the internet says to skip it, and everyone just buys the single cards, we saw something similar with Final Fantasy. I hate to compare to Final Fantasy because Final Fantasy is like the blue chip king. It's the king dingling. I just don't want to mess with that. But we saw this with Final Fantasy. It came out. Everybody said, don't buy the rip-off $800 Final Fantasy collectors. Don't pay the $200 Final Fantasy play. I mean, every store in the country, I got pushback and attacks. Every LGS, scammers, scalper, whatever terminology you want to use was a big thing. So what happened? The internet told all the special people and the Timmies to just buy singles. Well, that's what the internet did. And now, you fast forward 30, 60, 90 days, and single cards, for example, on Final Fantasy have skyrocketed. The surge foil prices and the regular prices of a lot of Final Fantasy playable cards, commander cards, flashy cards, the surge foil character cards are incredibly expensive. Not to mention all the variants of the Chocobo, not talking about the serialized card. And then people told me, Rudy, with all the variants of Spider-Man, of the different outfits, have you seen the prices in the last 24 hours? And I said, no, I haven't. And I still haven't, because by the time you watch this, I'm not going to quote any prices, because the cards are either going to be way higher or they're going to be way lower, and that's just going to give the internet an excuse to just be stupid. So yes, if this is starting to unfold, finally, and it's finally releasing, the way I'm starting to think it's going to, I think the collector box price is going to stay flat or possibly go into the 600s over the next 7 to 10 days. Now, I think the play box is going to stay around that 200 range with tax and shipping. Now, what I also think is going to happen is everyone's going to not buy the collector box because everybody thinks the cards in the collector box have no value, and the collector box at 6, 7, 8, 900, whatever it is not worth it. This is going to create a very interesting situation. And I believe we are laying the framework for these boxes to pop to 1,000 plus. Now, do I think you should buy from me? I don't give two shits. Honestly, I hope most patrons and most of you guys don't buy it and think it's a ripoff, and I'm just going to keep it. But I am going to offer it. We'll see what happens. In addition, I want to disclose something publicly, which is in the last 72 hours, I haven't made a video in the last 2 days, it is confirmed that all the distributors have given me additional Spider-Man collector boxes. I mean, not a lot. An extra 20, 30 collector boxes per distributor because there was a small additional second wave that Wizards thought was being delayed in logistics and shipping, and it turned out is actually going to arrive on time within a couple days of release. So I ended up getting a small bump in collector boxes. So what's going to happen is most likely, as this piece of news of what I just said is spread around the internet, this should lower collector box prices even further as stores and employees fire sale to lock in profits and roll to Pokemon and roll to the future things going in the end of September, October. Now, my personal advice, I know you're supposed to say this is not financial advice, I don't give two shits. I'm going to be honest with you all. My advice, when you go online, if you see these prices tank, I would buy them. I am going to tell you right now, if the price of Spider-Man collectors tanks into the 500s or below, I am going to buy them. And I am going to buy a lot of them. If for some small chance that does happen, I am going to purchase them. I don't think we see that. And again, I'm not going to sit the computer refresh every 15 minutes to hope someone, gets one box or something. If we see a major collapse or a panic, my advice to you all, if you are serious about this industry long term, and you actually have the time, and you have the discipline, you have the resources, you have a stable life, you're very fortunate with your income, you don't have debt, I do think this is a great collector box to add to a sealed product collection. This is not an overprinted product. Under no circumstances, Spider-Man collectors going to tank to $200, $300, $400. I am telling you all right now, if anybody thinks they're going to wait for the crash to $299 or $399, I would buy $1 million worth of additional collector boxes on top of the current collector boxes and the current prices that are out there. If I can get these collector boxes for $300 and $400 because everything's going to zero, I'm telling you all, similar. We'll throw it in this video just for funsies. So I have completed a nice little Pokemon buyout. Haven't told anybody what it is yet, and it's not what people think. Essentially, I will give you all a hint. And that's it. I just want to see what people think. And then in about 30, 45 days from now, I will tell you what it is. But I will tell you a couple hints. Number one, I have purchased over 1,000 sealed Pokemon items. Number two, it is a sealed Prismatic Evolutions item. Number three, the reason that I chose to do this, and by the way, this is not related to Magic or a buyout or anything else. This is just something completely different. Number three, the reason I decided to do this was because, as you would know, or if you were a patron, this particular Prismatic Evolution item, I did not get enough, and neither did any store I checked with in the United States. Nobody got a large allocation of this item. And when I saw the market tank the price of it, and it got to what I felt was hilarious, I started to buy it to increase the small position I got from distribution to double, triple, and quadruple and get to over 1,000 of these sealed prismatic items that I wanted. And when every patron messaged me in the last few months asking, Rudy, are you going to run a sale on this particular item? I said, no, I did not get enough. I would highly recommend you buy on the current market price because the market price is stupid and it's going straight down as stores undercut each other in a race to the bottom. You need to buy right now. This item was so limited on distribution, it needs to be purchased. I don't care what the current Prismatic Evolutions per pack price is, but I'm telling you, this particular sealed product, I told anyone who asked me that. Anyways, some of you may be able to figure it out, see if anybody cares, but I will share and I will show it in a video. Let's give it 30, 60 days. We'll see how it goes. I just want to let it simmer a little bit and essentially put, I could not believe how low it dropped. I was like, I got such a low allocation, and you stupid people online are going to do that. Anyways, back to Magic. So, conclusion, we have this strange development with Spider-Man that appears to be something that nobody really expected, including myself. I assumed when everybody was upset that there was no serialized cards, which I was also upset, Evil Scalper Scanner, Rudy, 69,000. And then, when everybody was angry about seeing collector box openings of Spider-Man, and the expected value people were saying was like $200 for a box at pre-release prices, which is the highest the single cards will ever be worth, unless you're talking about other collector boxes recently where single cards of the chase variants have been going up in value, not down in value. This is also a new concept in this limited environment with limited play boxes and essentially collector boxes that everybody fights for. The single cards do not come out anymore and just crash to zero kind of thing. For the longest time, for 5-10 years of this YouTube channel, it was always wait till after release, wait 30, 60, 90 days, buy the singles you want after everybody mass box opens, dumps all their singles, tries to extract any value to get their money, then you can move in and get your cards you want cheap. Now, with all these collector boxes, even without serialized cards, when you have these variants, and everybody now has been asking me, well, Rudy, do you think Spider-Man variants are going to be like Chocobo variants? And at first everyone said, well, I don't know, there's no value. And I'm telling you, even if these things are worth a third to a half of the variants of the Chocobo kind of thing, we are looking at some big differences. And I don't think people are understanding and grasping the value and what's coming to it. And I think people need to be careful because this market can swing fast. And right now, the entire market thinks Spider-Man play and collector boxes are terrible, it's crap, there's no value, there's no serialized, the singles are worthless. And when you have everybody on the internet aligned a certain way, Timmy the Rudy Captain 5000 is sitting back here with my broom, and I'm saying, excuse me, yeah. What happens if for some reason the product comes out and people do want the cards and they actually don't go to zero and the single cards and the variants and these rare chase variants only in collector boxes start to become $500 and $300 and $1,000 a card, and then everyone thinks these collector boxes don't have value and everyone's dumping them, and now stores got a little extra supply, so not all the selling pressures here. What happens if this goes in a different direction than no one's anticipating? So, that's my speech. I think we're going to be in for some very big surprises with the Spider-Man. Buy it if you want, skip it if you want. If you're boycotting Wizards, you do you. I'm just telling you all, we're going to see some strange price swings. And at the end of the day, this is a huge brand IP crossover. This has a very tight supply, lower than Final Fantasy. And we're in a situation where the whole market thinks one thing's going to happen. And nobody's preparing for any other scenario. And this is a ripe, textbook ripe situation for massive price swings or things to happen to make other people say, well, how is this possible? I wouldn't pay that. And I think we're going to be in for some weird shit, everybody. And I don't think anyone's mentally preparing for these different scenarios. And I'm here to tell you, if you see stores online dumping them, I would recommend buying from those other stores. Because I'm gonna watch it through the next 2 weeks. And if for some reason we get a heavy crash and we start seeing 500s or below, you bet your ass I'm going to do it. I've done this way too long to know that these things, there are small windows of opportunity in life. It could be real estate, could be Bitcoin, could be collectibles, could be stocks, could be the old just S&P, could be anything. Opportunity comes along. The same way in April of 2025, I was throwing chairs and tables yelling to you guys it was time to be greedy and to buy into the S&P, buy into the collector box market and do everything. And I was screaming at you guys, throwing chairs and tables and beating on things. And I think some of you all listened. Those people were just very like, oh, look at this idiot telling people to buy at the market top. And I would definitely keep an eye on as we go through this week and into next week for the Spider-Man thing, because you are probably going to see the only small opportunity to get into some of this stuff. I think the collector box is kind of like, I don't think the Spider-Man collector boxes are going to run to 250, 300. Like Final Fantasy play boxes are 250 plus tax. I don't think we see that. But again, after this play box for Spider-Man comes out, how long is it going to be before we can get any play boxes of Spider-Man? We've got 5 Magic sets in front of a reprint of Spider-Man play. We have Charkier play, Foundations play, Bloomborough play, Final Fantasy play, Edge of Eternity's play. We have 5 regular sets in standard. Are they all in standard? I think they're all in standard. That need reprinting before we're even going to get a Spider-Man reprint. So again, all this product's going to come. We're going to have an opportunity to get it. You guys are going to have an opportunity to buy it. You can buy it from me. You can buy it online. You can go on eBay. Go to your local store. But I'm telling you, like, there's no restock of this coming. We're still, the prices of this stuff are going to be very firm. And I just, I almost want to feel bad, but then I realize I don't, about some of the people who are just waiting and waiting and waiting for crash after crash. It's like those memes. People keep waiting for Pokemon crash. They're waiting for the Magic crash. They're waiting for the Bitcoin crash. They're waiting for the S&P to crash. They're waiting for real estate to crash. I've been hearing this for years. And I almost feel bad for some people. But then I remember I have legs and I can get up and go eat some tacos and waffle fries. Have a beautiful day.